What's happening everyone, my name is Alex and welcome back. For this camera comparison we have one of the latest phones from Xiaomi. We have the Xiaomi Redmi Note 12 Pro Plus, so this is kind of like the top of the line for the Redmi line. We're gonna be comparing this phone with the iPhone 14 Pro, but don't misunderstand the purpose of this camera comparison. I'm simply trying to show you what a budget-friendly device like this Redmi device can do when compared to a flagship like the iPhone 14 Pro. Keep in mind that the iPhone is also 3 or 4 times more expensive than this device, so always keep that in mind. On the back of the Redmi Note 12 Pro Plus, we also have a 200 megapixel main camera that has optical image stabilization, just in case you didn't know what the main camera on this device was. And I think we're gonna start by checking out some sample video recordings just so you can see how both devices do for video recordings. The maximum recording resolution that is available for the Redmi Note 12 Pro Plus is 4K at 30 frames per second, but unfortunately at that resolution there is no electronic image stabilization, so the video will be a bit shaky if you are walking. So let's check out those sample recordings and I will be right back. Alright, and we're starting with a quick recording done with the main cameras on the back of the two devices. So for this recording, I'm recording in 4K at 30 frames per second. Now, with the Xiaomi Redmi Note 12 Pro Plus, it doesn't actually seem like we have video stabilization for 4K recordings, or maybe there is some sort of video stabilization because the video is not that shaky, but also it's not that smooth either. So I'm not sure if we actually get any type of video stabilization. There is nothing in the phone's settings or the camera settings saying that it has video stabilization or that it doesn't. But again, it does better than other devices that I've tried that don't have video stabilization for the main camera and of course 4K recordings. Now you will see for our next sample that if you're switching the resolution to 1080p at 30 frames per second, it does much better when walking. So yeah, this was a sample for the main camera and 4K at 30 frames per second. Alright, so for our next recording, I've switched the resolution to 1080p at 30 frames per second, and as you're about to see, when you are recording in 1080p at 30 frames per second, the video stabilization does work much better than you're recording in 4K at 30 frames per second. So maybe 1080p at 30 frames per second is the better resolution for this device. I guess we are gonna turn towards the sun and let's see how the devices do around here. So from what I'm seeing on the screens here, of course, the iPhone does handle the light a bit better. So yeah, 1080p at 30 frames per second between the iPhone 14 Pro and of course the Xiaomi Redmi Note 12 Pro Plus. Moving on to our next recording. For this recording I've switched the cameras to the ultra-wide cameras on the back of the two devices. Now on the Xiaomi Redmi Note 12 Pro Plus, the maximum recording resolution if you're recording with the ultra-wide camera is 1080p at 30 frames per second. We do seem to have video stabilization at this resolution, but of course you cannot record at any other resolution. I mean higher resolution than 1080p at 30 frames per second. So yeah, ultra-wide cameras on the Xiaomi and of course the iPhone 14 Pro. Alright, and a super quick video recording done in low light, of course, between the iPhone and the Xiaomi Redmi Note 12 Pro Plus. For this recording, I'm using the main cameras on the back of the two devices and recording in 4K at 30 frames per second. I'm also trying to keep the phones as steady as possible. And the camera just spotted me, so the light is on now. But at least we can see a bit more. So we're gonna stop somewhere around here. And we'll pan down a bit and a bit to the left. So yeah, this is how a recording in 4K at 30 frames per second in low light between these two devices would look like. Alright, and next we are moving on to a quick recording that I've done with the front-facing cameras on the Note 12 Pro Plus and of course the iPhone 14 Pro. Now the maximum recording resolution for the Redmi Note 12 Pro Plus with the front-facing camera is 1080p at 60 frames per second. We are currently doing 1080p at 30 frames per second. Of course with the iPhone we could do 4K at 60 frames per second. So I just wanted to show you how a recording done with the front-facing cameras on these two devices would look like under these conditions. So what do you guys think about those sample recordings that I got from the Redmi device? Were they good enough? Were you expecting better? Definitely leave a comment down below and let me know your thoughts. Personally, I feel that you should only do 1080p recordings with this device because if you're doing 4K, the video just looks way too shaky. As for that front-facing camera, you're probably better off not to use it because the recordings from the front-facing camera were just... So, yeah. Alright, next we're gonna move on and start checking out some pictures. Now, as I mentioned earlier, on the back of this device we have a 200 megapixel sensor. Now, you're not gonna be able to take pictures like that all the time, maybe some special pictures here and there, because the pictures are just massive. It's gonna take out all the storage on your device if you take 200 megapixel pictures at all times. The pictures that you're seeing on your screen right now were taken with that 200 megapixel mode basically, and yes, you can definitely zoom in a lot on those pictures and there is a lot of detail in those pictures. But all the other pictures that you're gonna see next to the pictures that I took with the iPhone were taken on the auto mode, so definitely not on the 200 megapixel mode, just to keep that in mind. So looking at the pictures that I took on auto mode with the main cameras on the back of the two devices, well, many pictures from the Redmi device do look really good. I mean, I can't really say anything bad about them, and there are a couple that I actually prefer over the same pictures that I took with the iPhone 14 Pro. But then there are about 3 or 4 pictures that I took that look a bit overexposed, so I was not a fan of that. With the iPhone we kind of get constant looking pictures, I'm gonna say. With the Redmi device you're not sure what kind of a picture you're gonna take. You're just gonna point the phone and hope for the best basically. So it is a bit unknown how the picture will turn out in my opinion if you're using that main camera and the auto mode. So definitely leave a comment down below and let me know your thoughts about the pictures that I took with the main cameras on the back of the two devices. I also have a few portrait mode pictures of myself that I took around the house here. Now the edge detection around the subject is really good on both devices. I can't really say that one does better than the other one, but I feel that I prefer the colors that we get from the pictures that I took with the iPhone 14 Pro. I feel that they retain my skin color a bit better and the colors of the environment a bit better compared to the Redmi device. Even though the Redmi device doesn't do bad, except for one picture where the light was a bit difficult. So in that last portrait mode picture, of course, the Redmi device doesn't do that great. And once again, leave a comment down below and let me know your thoughts about the portrait mode pictures. Next, we are checking out a few pictures that I took with the ultra-wide cameras on the back of the two devices. And well, I can't really say that the Redmi device takes bad pictures. Now, if you do look close enough at those pictures, you're gonna notice the pictures from the iPhone do seem a bit sharper, and also dynamic range in the pictures taken by the iPhone is slightly better. But overall, I think the ultra-wide pictures that I took with the Redmi device are more than usable. Next, we're gonna move on and check out some nighttime pictures, and for all the nighttime pictures that you are seeing, I use the night modes available on both devices. The night mode is available for the main camera and for the ultra-wide camera on the Redmi device, just in case you're wondering. Now, if you do have plenty of light, well, not plenty of light, but if you do have some light wherever you're taking pictures, the Redmi device doesn't do bad. I kind of like how the pictures turn out if there is some light wherever you're taking pictures. So for example, if there would be some street lights, the Redmi device will do okay. As soon as there are now lights, or there are very few lights around, the Redmi device doesn't do good at all, and you can see a massive difference for the picture quality in those situations where it's darker around where I'm taking pictures. So I was actually expecting a bit better from the Redmi device whenever it's using that night mode and the main camera, but no, the iPhone of course will do better for pretty much all situations in low light. As for the ultra-wide camera and the night mode, well, you're probably better off not to take any pictures with the Redmi Note 12 Pro Plus in low light with that ultra-wide camera, because the pictures just don't look good at all. So if there isn't enough light, the pictures are just unusable in my opinion. Next, we're gonna move on and check out a few selfies. Unfortunately, I forgot to take nighttime selfies, so we're only gonna see some daytime selfies. But for the daytime selfies, well, I have to say that I was not impressed by the pictures that I took with the Xiaomi Redmi Note 12 Pro Plus. What do you guys think about this device? Is it better than you're expecting? Is it worse than you're expecting? What are your thoughts about this device? Because now it's not a very cheap device. This device is about $500. So definitely not the cheapest phone out there. So yeah, definitely leave a comment and let me know what you think about this device. Thanks for watching and I'll see you guys in the next one.